Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of English with Chris presents English Word of the Day. And today's word of the day is going to be the word concise. So without any further ado, let's get into this one. As we can see, concise is an adjective, and we want to pronounce it like concise. Concise. So looking at the definition, we have using few words, not including extra or unnecessary information. So no superfluous information, which is exactly what I just did there. So, which was deliberate, by the way. So anyway, to make that a little bit clearer, we can look at some examples. The first one's going to be the concise exam was greatly appreciated by the exhausted students who had studied all night for the test. So again, if we look at the definition, not including extra or unnecessary information, we can gather that this particular test that the students were studying for, or the exam that they were studying for, was very concise, meaning it didn't have more questions than were necessary. So that it had just the right number of questions to test the students' ability, which I can imagine would be very much greatly appreciated by them, as it says. So another example, the College Board, which owns the SAT or SAT, announced Tuesday that the test will move to an all-digital format with shorter, more concise content. So again, this one's going to be very similar to the first one. So the College Board, which owns the SAT, as the SAT is an exam board, are going to move to an all-digital format. So it's going to move to being entirely online. And this is going to mean that the content, so the amount of questions, what's being asked, etc., is going to be much shorter, so more concise. It's not going to have any superfluous information. Okay, so let's go for a different example here that's maybe not so much to do with exams. So this one here, US state proposes concise list of do's and don'ts for biometrics use. Okay, so this one's quite interesting. So this is basically stating then that it's proposing a concise list of do's and don'ts. So do's and don'ts, what they're allowed to do and what they're not allowed to do with the biometric data that they collect. So again, this is going to make it much easier for them to be able to follow the guidelines and not break the law, which is great. So they'll only be using the data in ways which are approved, and they'll know that because the guidelines, the rules telling them what they can and can't do, are much shorter, much clearer, and easier to understand. So let's look at the final example here. Millions of people at risk as food packaging is still not clear and concise, experts warn. So this is from from an English newspaper, and if I remember correctly, this particular headline is referring to the risk of diabetes in the UK. So I think they were talking about how the food is labeled in terms of how much sugar each product contains is maybe not easily understandable for people that need to look at that data or that information. So again, if we look at the definition, we can see that in this case, it's still not clear and concise. So it's using too much information or unnecessary information. So millions of people at risk as food packaging is still not clear and concise. So it's still not easy to understand. It's not easy to work out what it's saying. This is according to the experts. So these were a few more examples just so that you can get your head around the definition of the word concise. Hopefully these examples were useful. I tried to vary them, although two of them ended up being relatively similar. But hopefully with the different scenarios here, it helps make the definition a little bit clearer. So anyway, moving on to you now. So now it's your turn. Can you use concise in a sentence? Maybe you could even write a concise sentence about the word concise. And can you remember yesterday's word of the day? What was it? What is the definition? And as always, if you could write your answers in the comments below, that would be great. Thank you again for watching. I always like seeing you here. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. So take care. Bye bye.